In the last video, you saw that adding and subtracting with inequalities was very similar to the way that we add and subtract with one-step equations. Today, when we're multiplying and dividing with inequalities, it's also going to be a lot like multiplying and dividing with one-step equations. The important statement to remember today is the one that's in red. The inequality will flip when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number. And there are two key words in this sentence: flip and negative. And what flip means is if we start with less than, we will change it to greater than. If we start with greater than, we will change it to less than. But that's only if we're multiplying and dividing both sides by a negative number. The positives don't matter as much. Let's look at example 1a. I have x divided by 2 is less than negative 1. Since x is being divided by negative 2, the opposite of that would be to multiply. So we multiply both sides by 2. Now if I come up back to my statement, when I multiply or divide by a negative number, we're going to have to flip our inequality. Since I'm multiplying by a positive 2, I will not change this inequality. So I will keep it as less than. Now on the left side, 2's will cross out and we have an x left over. On the right side, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. So I have x is less than negative 2, and when I graph that, I'll start with my negative 2, and to the right of negative 2 goes negative 1 and 0. To the left of it will be negative 3 and negative 4. Since it's less than and not equals to, this will be an open circle, and less than means that we are shading our arrow to the right, or I'm sorry, to the left. So all of our answers will be located on the left side of our number line. And that is example 1. Let's look at example 2. We have n divided by negative 3 is less than or equal to positive 2. This time we're dividing by a negative 3, so when we multiply, we're going to multiply by a negative 3. And when I check my statement up at the top, when we multiply or divide by a negative number, our inequality flips around. We are multiplying by a negative 3, so instead of writing a less than or equal to, this time we're going to write greater than or equal to. The left side, the negative 3's will disappear, leaving us with an n, and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So we have n is greater than or equal to negative 6. Let's fill in our graph. We start with negative 6. To the right will be negative 5 and negative 4. To the left is negative 7 and negative 8. Since it is greater than or equals to, our circle is going to be closed in, so we'll fill that in. And since it's greater than, our large arrow is being shaded to the right. Our last example involves some multiplying. We have negative 5 times r is greater than or equal to 25. This time, since r is being multiplied by a negative 5, we will divide both sides by negative 5. And like our important statement says, when you divide by a negative number, like we're doing here in example C, we're going to have to flip our inequality. So it's going to change from greater than into less than. R will be alone on the left. 25 divided by negative 5 is negative 5. So we're going to have negative 5. On the right will be negative 4. And then negative 3. On the left is negative 6 and negative 7. Since it is less than or equals to, our dot will be closed and filled in. And r is less than negative 5, so that means that our arrow points to the left. If you have any questions about flipping your sign, make sure that you ask in class.